What up, everybody? This is another edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen with yours truly, Duane from Two Goalies, One Mic, brought to you by not just Manscaped.com, but Amherst Ale House. Guys, that was a disappointing showing. 0 for 6 on the power play, and on 3 of those power plays, you took penalties within not even like 30 seconds to a minute of having the power play to just kill the entire opportunity. And I think that's a very forgettable game, but at the very end there, you have a 6-on-3 opportunity with the goalie pulled, and you take a penalty again for the third time. That is inexcusable. It's just, that can't happen once in a game, let alone 3 times. That you just cannot let that happen, especially in a game when you're down 2-0 as it is that late in the third period, and when you already have a 5-on-3 power play. Just inexcusable. Inexcusable to go, I think it was like 0 for 6 on the power play just as a whole. Inexcusable. I don't care, if you are depleted offensively. And another thing too, and Marty Baron brought it up at the in the post game, was you were forcing the puck to the wrong side of the ice on the power play, where you had left-handed shots on the opposite side. You obviously want to try and get that puck to your sniper on the right-hand side, Victor Olofsson, who is a left-handed shot. He's very dangerous from that spot. Obviously, you don't have Jack on the other side, so forcing the play over to that to anyone but maybe Reinhart as a right-handed shot, it's just not a good decision. So a lot of bad sloppy play, especially in the first period by Buffalo Knight, but they really started to get it together in the second and later on in the third. So we'll just recap all of that and more. Just again, remember this is brought to you again by Amherst Ale House. For all Sabres games, half off pictures of Molson Coors, Labatt, Blue Light, all of it, and half price off medium pepperoni pizzas. Don't forget to get to Amherst Ale House. Again, you have, I think it's 11 more games to enjoy this Sabres team, which has been fun to watch. So this youth movement that's been going on, now you see Matthias Samuelsson in the lineup over Matt Irwin. You obviously saw Cody Eakin get sat tonight for Caligula. Having his first game. Love the number choice too. Love the number choice in 91. I loved, Anders Bajorki's choice in number 96. A little Charlie Conway, Paul Valbury vibes there, along with the Sergei Fedorov vibes from Caligula. But Kajila, however say his last name, I don't even know. But again, guys, just not the result you wanted. But again, they weren't ever out of this game, even with the slow start. They were never out of this game. They played their asses off. They stayed in it, and they really controlled that third period. It's just I think the story of tonight's game was just your lack of presence on the power play, your lack of ability to execute. And secondly, the play of Tuukka Rask. Tuukka Rask had a great game tonight. Really, I wouldn't say stole them the game, but, obviously we all remember that huge save on Dylan Cousins in the first period. I had my hands up in the air. I don't know about you guys. I thought that was a sure thing, a goal. We're going to see that replay a lot over the next 24 hours. Candidate for save of the year for sure. So, again, disappointing effort. Some of the things that stuck out to me the most was after the first period, Colin Miller was leading the team in ice time with like 9 minutes and some odd seconds. Why is Colin Miller leading the team in ice time? That's worse than Ristolainen leading the team in ice time. Another thing too was, your shooters weren't shooting tonight. Olofsson with only 1 shot on net, Reinhart with only 1 shot on net, Casey with only 1 shot on net. You need more from those guys. You need them to be shooting the puck as often as possible, and especially in a game where you're down 2-0. You need your shooters to be shooting. There's no excuse for that. So, it's, again, disappointing to say the least. But, there are some positive take it. Dustin Tokarski with an absolute another beauty of a game. 39 saves and 41 shots, like a .955 save percentage. Again, just having a very solid outing. Can't complain there either. It stinks. You see an effort. Again, first period was lackluster, but again, things got better as the game went on. They were creating chances. They were drawing penalties. Again, even though Boston is one of the most penalized team and I think actually they're the most penalized team in the entire league. when a team gives you that many opportunities, you have to capitalize. There's just no excuse not to capitalize. You know, I would say this is probably their worst game under Donnie Meatballs, Don Granado. Sucks, but again, it is what it is. This team isn't from a roster standpoint everything we would normally have out there. You have a lot of youth, a lot of exciting youth out there. We all saw, it was a picture was shown on Twitter today. Jack Eichel was in the house watching from a suite. I mean, I don't want to think that he was disappointed in what he saw, but you don't want to see your team lose, but you have to imagine that Jack is happy with the way this team has been performing under the tutelage of Don Granado since he's taken over. So again, it's just not everything's going to go your way. We had a bad bounce today. That one goal went in. Tokarski kind of kicked it in his own net. Unfortunate to say the least. A bounce didn't go your way. A lot of bounces didn't go our way tonight. It's not always going to be like that. There are a lot of things that bug me, but again, judging from what we've seen over the last 3 weeks since Granado's taken over as coach, I would definitely say that is probably the worst outing we've seen. But again, the positives are the play of Casey Middlestat has gotten immensely better. The play of Tage Thompson has immensely gotten better. Rasmus Dahlin's play has immensely improved since Granado's taken over. You see him taking chances. He led the team in ice time tonight in 23 minutes. So again, it sucks. You're gonna run into these issues. Especially with a team this young and this inexperienced. You can't be all that upset with the way things went. I wasn't. I want to see them win, obviously, but Boston's a tough team. Let's not make any bones about it. That is a good hockey team. You don't ever want to get shut out, but what can you do? Especially in your own barn, you don't want to get shut out. I know it stinks. It's not the result you want. So, we got a couple comments here from Mauricio Arenas. Sabres lack talent. Bruins way above them talent and competition wise. I mean, I think that's kind of obvious. You have MVP candidate potential players, guys like Brad Marchand, Pasternak, McAvoy is having an insanely great season. I think that, nothing isn't, that's obvious. So, again, goal scorers tonight for Boston were as follows. We had, I'm trying to remember, Clifton had a goal, and Marchand the Rat had the first goal. How can you forget that off an unfortunate rebound off Tokarski? Took it to his backhand and scooped it in the back of the net. But, after that first period, after, they finally got off their heels and they started taking the plate of the Bruins, they put 41 shots on net tonight against, again, a really good Bruins team. It's not like they didn't, have a good game. Or, I'm sorry, they didn't have 41 shots. I think they had 32 shots on net. So, they didn't have a terrible game tonight, compared to what we've seen in the past from this hockey team. You've seen this team, once they get down, even that early in the game, they give up on themselves under Ralph Kruger. They stop playing. They weren't playing with any swagger. This team, however, never gave up, and they were taking it from the third period. During Rasmus Ristolainen's postgame, he said, normally when you're down in the third period, you tend to, put more pressure on. I mean, that hasn't been the case with this team. We've seen under Ralph Kruger, the third period, even when they were losing, was their worst period. They couldn't get it together. They play with no desperation. This team plays with swagger. They play with confidence. They know they're not out of games. It's night and day difference between both these coaches. So Granado has them prepared to come into these games. He has them focused. The practices have been better, which has been reported. The practicing has been night and day different. The whole approach to games and practice, again, night and day difference. So I feel like the city has Don Granado's back. I was mentioning this to Dave Starman today. I was messaging him back and forth because he was a big advocate of Granado before Kruger was fired, And I said the city seems to have Donnie Meatball's back. Everything I see. I mean, granted, I still think this team should do their due diligence when they go look for a coach. But I think Granado has earned at least to be at the top of that list. I definitely think so. Before anyone's interview, Granado should be your first candidate. It's Granado's job to lose, in my opinion. And I think like the biggest piece of evidence that he might be the right coach for this team is, again, the play of Casey Middlestat, the play of Tage Thompson, the reemergence of Rasmus Dahlin. These players that are, skating through a wall for Granado, it seems, essentially. Dylan Cousins, again, 7 shots on goal tonight. The guy is shooting a lot. He's playing with a ton of confidence. There was one play where he came down the wing with a ton of speed and a ton of strength and tried to muscle his way to the front of the net. You love to see that from that young kid. Seemed to take control of the play and he did try to do it himself. But, it's nice to see that from the 19-year-old kid. There were a couple times there where Casey Middlestat, was using his body to protect the puck and set up the play and keep possession instead of just making a stupid play and dumping it into the corner or, losing possession. He held on to it for a little bit longer, used his ability to stick handle, used his body and positioning to hold on to the puck and set up the play at the top of the point a couple different times. So, I think just Casey's play enough, gives us reason to believe that Granado could be the guy going forward. But again, there was a lot of sloppy play on Buffalo's part. I don't like seeing Colin Miller lead this team, almost lead this team in ice time, especially after the first period. I know Rasmus Dahlin ended up leading us in ice time by the end of the night, again with 23 minutes. But again, just the biggest story tonight is the lack of the effectiveness on the power play. Your shooters need to be shooting. Middlestat wasn't shooting the puck enough. To recap, Reinhart wasn't shooting enough. Olofsson wasn't shooting enough. Colin Miller tonight with 6 shots on net. I think it was 6. And then leading the team was Dylan Cousins. So you just need your game breaking players. Skinner with only 3 shots on net. Thompson with 2. You got to be shooting the puck if you want to win. Your shooters have to shoot. You got to put them in positions to shoot the puck and score. Again, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Boston played well defensively, and Tuukka Rask came up with a lot of key saves to kind of get them to win there. I'm not going to take anything away from Boston. So, with that being said, can't go 0 for 6 on the power play. Can't. So. And you can't take penalties when you're on the power play, especially with 3 minutes left in the game. It's like I'm forcing myself to yell because it's like this team isn't upsetting me as much as they normally would. I do realize there's a huge lack of talent between us and Boston, but they've skated with them all night. They've been skating with there hasn't been a game under Granado, in my opinion, where we were outplayed, out-hustled, and just outmatched. We've been I feel like in every single game since he's taken over, and that is a huge breath of fresh air. So, again, I keep it short and sweet tonight, guys. I'll hang up and listen. You can leave your this will be up on YouTube. Make sure you leave your your comments, what you think about tonight's game and what you think this team needs to go forward. We've only a handful of games here left in the season. I think it's like 11 games. What do you want to see going forward from this team? I know there's rumors of a UPL debut possibly on Thursday. We'll see. I'd love to see it. As a goalie, I'd like to see, where his development is at. We've seen him in Rochester have some struggles, but maybe, he comes in with a strong performance, gives himself some swagger, heads back to Rochester and, really, starts to turn his game around, because I think that's something he could use. So again, goalies do take longer to develop though. So, again, guys, I'll hang up and listen. Make sure, again, you get to Amherst Ale House, for, half off, your medium pepperoni pizzas. Great atmosphere there. I love the wings. And again, half off Labatt Blue and Blue Light, Molson, and Coors Light pitchers during all Sabres games at Amherst Ale House. Make sure you call them. See how long the wait is, 716-625-7100. And don't forget, manscaped.com. 20% off your entire purchase when you use the code word Trainwreck. That's all capital letters, TRAINWRECK. Trainwreck, 20% off plus free shipping. Get yourself the Lawnmower 3.0. Has a built-in flashlight. You never know you needed a flashlight for your razor until you've had one. Waterproof. You can use it in the shower. And it has a guard on it to avoid any nicks and cuts. Just an awesome piece of technology. Best razor I've ever had. Get to manscaped.com. Code word Trainwreck. 20% off your entire purchase plus free shipping. We will see you at the next before and after the next game with the Crossing Swords pregame show. Man, I just can't get normal words out of my mouth correctly tonight, guys. I'm sorry. 2-0 loss. Again, disappointing, but they did leave a lot to be desired on the special team side of things. Got to get the puck in the back of the net. So, especially with 6 opportunities, one of them being a not 5-on-3, but a 6-on-3 with the goalie pulled. But again, guys, I'll hang up and listen. Enjoy the rest of your night. And 3 words for you. Let's go, Sabres.